Sean Strickland wins his fight. And I feel like I got to tell you guys that because you probably haven't heard. I mean, you probably haven't heard. You either watched it or you don't know that it happened. It didn't steal any headlines. I go to the headlines right now on the dirt sheet. Strickland getting a victory is nowhere. It got buried. It got buried in the media. I don't even know that there was a plan to do an announcement last night about Jones and Surreal. I don't know. When T-Mobile released that piece, you had to go make the announcement, right? I don't know if that's what last night was supposed to be. I don't know. But Sean did win, and Sean was up against a lot. Here's the guy in Sean Strickland who has lost 2 fights in a row. Now, I don't know what Sean's ranked. I just happen to know what he was ranked the night that he fought Pereira. I know that because Pereira getting an opportunity against number 6 was a really big deal. Pereira takes out number 6, doesn't get the number 6 ranking, doesn't get a number 5 ranking. He takes out number 6, and that night before any ranking changes, he got a fight for the championship. That doesn't happen very often, but it did. And it's one of the reasons that I just happen to know what Strickland was ranked. So he goes into the fight with Cannonier. And I thought that Sean won that fight, but I'm not bullish on that. I don't know who won that fight. It was MMA rules, but it turned into a kickboxing match. So how do you score kickboxing, and how do you score kickboxing when it's not kickboxing? It's actually under the unified rules, which has a different setup. It's one of those things where you guys don't know either, and I don't know, and we just got to live with the result. One judge thought that not only Sean won, that he absolutely dominated it. He gave him 4 rounds to 1. Another judge thought Sean was absolutely dominated, said he only won 1 round, lost the other 4. Right? I mean, it was one of those things where you kind of just shrug your shoulders. But I don't bring that up to relive, right, revisionist history on that night. I bring it up because imagine the psychological spot you're in if you're Sean. The only reason the performance, and I'm not talking about the outcome, I'm talking about the performance. The only reason Sean's performance against Cannonier is not what Sean would have liked it to have been, is because Sean psychologically was second-guessing himself from getting knocked out in his previous fight. It's real. And there's nothing you can do about it. I can sit here and I can identify it, and so could Sean. It doesn't mean that if you are Sean, you can go ahead and change it. So he went out and he had this match with Jared Cannonier, and the result is the result. But when he came out of that, what's he going to be thinking now? And that one I did wonder. Because I know what Sean should have been thinking. He should have been thinking when that counter fight was done, damn, I'm pretty good at this. I just went 25 minutes all stand-up with a guy who just went 25 minutes all stand-up with Adesanya. I must be pretty damn good. That's what Sean should have been thinking. But I feared that he wasn't. I feared that he's looking at that and going, hey, that's 2 losses in a row. Where do I stand? Where am I at in this division? That was my fear. Then Sean demands that it's at 205 pounds because he can't make middleweight. Turns out he didn't have his paperwork done. He had to go and get his eye examined the week of the fight, which explains how he did that and didn't have to cut weight, because that was the day he would cut weight. Well, okay, the fight was at 205. Then he has 10 pounds on the opponent, but he openly admits for us, my condition isn't where I want to be, and it better not go 5 rounds. I mean, right, you're kind of sitting there, as a Sean fan, I'm kind of sitting there listening to us going, oh no, we got a problem. And somehow, Sean was able to put all that aside, right? He's got to take the fight. They sweeten the pot up just a little bit. He's a prize fighter who lives in Vegas. The fight's in Vegas. I mean, for God's sakes, you have to take the fight. Not to mention Sean, 2 losses, and they want to put it back in the main event. Do you understand how big this win is for Sean? Only the dum-dums are fighting for rankings. Only dum-dums fight for rankings. The smart guys fight for card placement. And if you're a main event and you win, where are you going to go? The only thing bigger than a main event is a title fight. That's it. So it's very important that Sean, who was a main event, and then a main event again, and then a main event again, it's very important that he stands his ground here. He fought Uriah Hall as a main event. This is off the top of my head. He fought Jack the Joker in a main event. Right, this is off the top of my head. He fought Cannonier in a main event. It's one of these things. If that's your spot, keep your spot. How are you going to get it back? He has 2 losses in a row. The way you're going to get it back is by offering to do something that other people won't do, like taking an opponent on short notice. And now he's got his spot back. And it really is important. I don't like that it's buried in the headlines. I understand why it would be. But it's important that it's not. Nobody else from that card that Sean was on turned around in a month? Nobody. Only Sean. And he turned around to a main event, and he went all 5. It was a hard match, and he won. Give him his credit.